So, we all know that star platinum represents hope, right? They say it straight up in one of the first episodes. It symbolizes hope, inspiration, and faith. That's literally the meaning of the star card in tarot. Jotaro's the main hero, the guiding light of the group, the one who holds everything together. He is the star of the journey, both literally and symbolically. But here's something you might not know, nearly every character in the Stardust Crusaders arc is connected to a tarot card. All the stands in the first part of the arc are named after Major Arcana cards, and when you look closer, there's actually a cool link between each tarot meaning and the character's personality, abilities, or role in the story. In this video, I'll be analyzing how each stand or how its user reflects the symbolism of their respective tarot card. I'll be following the traditional order of the Major Arcana, a total of 21 cards. Let's get started. To start off, we've got Iggy, and his stand, the Fool. Now, Iggy isn't exactly your typical heroic companion. He's like an antisocial dog with a serious attitude problem, and he makes that very clear when he's first introduced with the arrival of the Joestar group to Egypt. And that's also what makes him the perfect match for the Fool tarot card. You see, the Fool in Major Arcana stands for freedom, unpredictability, chaos, and new beginnings, and honestly, that is Iggy in a nutshell. He's wild, independent, and totally does his own thing. His arrival marks a whole new part of the journey. The group has just crossed into Egypt, and Iggy's presence suggests the start of a new chapter, a literal new beginning. Now, as we get to know him, we also see Iggy's more reckless and careless side, which is interesting, because those are actually reversed meanings of the Fool card. Next up, we have Muhammad Abdul, and his stand, Magician's Red. The Magician tarot card is all about power, will, action, and transformation, and Abdul fits that perfectly. He's one of the first stand users we meet, and right away, you see that he controls his power very well. He even holds his attacks in his fight against Jotaro. Ironically, his stand uses fire, a classic symbol of power and inner will. He's deeply loyal, especially to Mr. Joestar, and he's always the first to step up when there's danger, even if it means putting his life on the line. And he actually does. He's presumed dead early in the story after taking a fatal hit to protect Polnareff, a sacrifice that reflects the magician's willingness to act and transform the fate of those around him. And when he returns later, it's like he completes that transformation, rising stronger and more determined.
Mohammed Abdul! Yes, I am!
Quick insight. Abdul taming Iggy before events of Part 3 perfectly mirrors one of the tarot's most interesting combination, the Magician and the Fool. Magician's Red guiding the Fool's raw potential into a more focused will. It's literally just how the Major Arcana says. In Major Arcana, the High Priestess represents mystery, hidden knowledge, illusion, and the subconscious. This card is all about what lies beneath the surface, secrets, intuition, and things not immediately seen. Midler's stand fits that really well. High Priestess has the ability to transform into and manipulate any mineral-based material, allowing her to disguise herself as a cup to infiltrate the submarine.
Oi, Kakyoin. なぜカップを6つ出す ?5 人だぞ。
おかしいな。うっかりしてたよ。5個のつもりだったが。
After they get away from the submarine, they fight stronger version of her, this time transformed as an aquatic cave. When they defeat her and when they reach the surface, High Priestess user was literally just standing in plain sight, reinforcing the idea of illusion and deception. Empress is kind of like a twisted reflection of the tarot card the Empress. You see, the card traditionally symbolizes growth, nurturing, and creation. However, in the show, instead of life-giving energy, the Empress manifests as a really gross tumor that grows onto the body and rapidly spreads like a parasite. This distortion of nurture turns into control, showing a darker side of the Empress's symbolism. Not to mention she was also playing overbearing with Joseph, dominant, which is the reverse meaning of the card. On the other hand, Nana, the stand user, takes advantage of this symbolism by hiding behind the appearance of a beautiful woman, hiding her true nature. What's normally a card of creation, beauty and life becomes, in her case, one of fake attachment and fake beauty. In Major Arcana, the Emperor represents authority, control, and masculine power, a figure who rules with structure and assertiveness. My boy Whole Horse wields the stand the Emperor. Whole Horse absolutely sees himself this way, confident, fearless, and always trying to take the lead. But actually, despite his bold front, He usually relies on others to back him up, rarely going solo. His gun stand, which lets him control the bullet's path mid-air, reflects a desire for control, but his personality clashes with that by showing recklessness and dependency. So even though the Emperor symbolizes command, Whole Horse plays the role of a movie gunslinger in need of a partner, making his interpretation of the card both fitting and ironic. Hierophant Green is the stand of Noriaki Kakyoin. According to Major Arcana, the Hierophant card represents tradition, wisdom, guidance, and spiritual insight. Kakyoin starts as a manipulated enemy, but after being freed, he becomes a loyal ally, someone who often plays the role of the observer and thinker within the group. Hierophant Green's abilities, like mind infiltration, may reflect this watchful energy. Eventually, Kakyoin finds purpose and belonging by joining the Joestar group. He steps out of isolation and becomes a true member of the team.
なぜ同行したくなったのかは私にもよくわからないんだがね。お前のおかげで目が覚めた。ただそれだけさ。
His arc brings the Hierophant card to life, a lonely student making his way to being part of a brotherhood. And that's spot on symbolism, because the tarot meaning of the Hierophant literally encourages you to join a group or community that aligns with your values. Kakyoin reflects this card amazingly. The Lovers is the tarot card behind the stand Lovers, wielded by Steely Dan, and while the name might suggest romance or connection, its symbolism is a little bit different, and darker in this case. You see, in Major Arcana, the Lovers card represents duality, choice, vulnerability, and trust. Steely Dan completely flips that idea by weaponizing intimacy and dependence to manipulate others. His stand, the Lovers, is tiny parasite that enters Joseph's brain, literally using him as a hostage, a direct violation of trust, turning something meaningful for a group of people into a threat. The card's positive themes of connection and harmony turn into deceit, exploitation, and psychological warfare, even taking children as hostages. Steely Dan doesn't just fight dirty, he embodies the reversed meaning of the Lovers: manipulation, betrayal, and using closeness for control. Moving on to the seventh card in the tarot, we have the Chariot. It represents determination, willpower, and triumph through discipline. And it couldn't be more fitting for Jan-Pierre Polnareff and his stand, Silver Chariot. Polnareff is an honorable warrior who fights with a clear vision and deep morals. Just like the card says, he's driven by a strong sense of direction, first in seeking revenge for his sister, and later in fighting for justice alongside the Joestar group. The Chariot is all about overcoming obstacles by staying focused, and Polnareff does exactly that, often acting as the first to jump into danger for the sake of the mission. And it's funny how he always ends up in the worst situations because of that. Apart from that, Silver Chariot's speed, precision, and fencing style reflect Polnareff's inner discipline and his desire to win with skill, not by using brute force. He is exactly what the Chariot symbolizes, a knight with controlled strength guided by purpose. Strength is the tarot card that symbolizes inner courage, resilience, and mastery over one's instincts. The stand Strength is wielded by Forever, the intelligent but pervert orangutan. At first, Forever reflects the upright meaning of the card. He displays control, confidence, and even cleverness, using his stand to trap the Joestar group in a massive illusion. But then things take a turn. When Forever traps the whole group and starts goofing around, we see the reverse side of the Strength card: abuse of power, fake control, and wild instincts running loose. What looked like confidence was really just manipulation hiding some insecurity. In the end, Jotaro exposes his weakness by striking at Forever's pride and revealing his true nature. And it's not brute strength that wins but a calm and precise action, the true strength the card was meant to represent. Now this one can be a bit confusing. Hermit usually means someone who lives in isolation, far from society. But in Major Arcana, the Hermit is about something deeper: wisdom, introspection, guidance, and searching for truth. For this card we have the goat Joseph Joestar in his stand, Hermit Purple. While his Hermit Purple isn't the craziest stand, it reflects that inner wisdom with the power it has, revealing truths, connecting distant people, and uncovering hidden knowledge. In Battle Tendency, Joseph is bold and clever. By Stardust Crusaders, he steps into the mentor role. He supports Jotaro with insight and strategy. However, I'd argue that it's in Part 4, when Joseph is older, more vulnerable, and more reflective, that the hermit's symbolism shines the most. He becomes a figure of wisdom, but most importantly a father and again a guide. Just like the card, Joseph's power isn't in brute strength but in knowing when and how to act. In Major Arcana, the Wheel of Fortune represents fate, cycles, and sudden changes, the unpredictable turns of life that are out of our control. In Stardust Crusaders, the stand Wheel of Fortune is wielded by a minor antagonist called ZZ who transforms an old car into a deadly, shape-shifting vehicle. It might seem like a stretch at first, but the symbolism actually fits. Just like the tarot card, the stand is all about change, motion, and adapting quickly. One moment it's a harmless car, the next it's a lethal threat that puts the whole Joestar group on the edge of death. Plus, the car itself is a nod to the stand's name, Wheel of Fortune. I mean, it's got wheels, it's unpredictable. So, yeah.
Jotaro! Jotaro!
Overall, the Wheel of Fortune reflects the idea of karma, and we see in the show that the user's overconfidence ultimately backfires, and the wheel turns against him. Enya the Hag wields the stand Justice, and her role in Part 3 is a twisted take on the Justice card. In Major Arcana, Justice stands for fairness and truth, but Enya just warps that meaning. Instead of balance, she brings manipulation ever since she's introduced. And later on, she literally uses justice to control the dead and puppeteer the living through their wounds. I mean literally turning people into weapons. It's poetic in a way though. Enya believes she's serving justice by helping Dio and punishing the Joestars, especially after they murdered her son.
このドアの奥か。
そうですじゃ。トイレはそのドアを入って、廊下の一番奥のドアですじゃよ。
So actually she's not delivering any justice. She's just getting her vengeance. In Major Arcana, the Hanged Man symbolizes sacrifice, getting a new perspective, and letting things go. Jay Guile wields the stand Hanged Man, and both his character and stand are a dark reflection of this tarot card. It's again a twisted meaning. Jay Guile is sadistic, and shows no sign of selflessness. Plus, instead of sacrifice, he forces others to suffer.
俺がジェイガイルだ。そいつはたまたまこの村にいた流れ者だよ。俺の傷と同じところにちょいとナイフで切れ目を入れておいたのさ。まんまと引っかかったな。
Even his stand's ability, which is moving through reflections, mirrors the idea of the card of seeing things from a different angle. Literally, each time Hanged Man travels from reflection to reflection he sees things from a different perspective. In the end, his death scene mirrors the card's core meaning as well. He's pinned down by Polnareff and Kikyoin, and cornered. Like the Hanged Man hanging upside down in the card, he ends up in the same position. While Death in Tarot is about transformation and letting go, in JoJo Death 13 leans more into fear and nightmares rather than some meaningful change as the card would imply. The stand reflects more of a mockery of the tarot meaning, using dreams and delusion to trap, and not to evolve. There's a theory that suggests that dreams reveal hidden thoughts and emotions, which occasionally you can use to grow, transform, or let something in your life go. It's like your mind telling a story you didn't know you needed to hear. But in Part 3, that space is controlled by the enemy. The dream world becomes a place where victims lose control rather than gain insight. They cannot transform by themselves.
ここが夢の中だからか。
夢の中で死ねるなんてロマンチックだと思わないかい。
Still, the design nails the theme. The floating, scythe-wielding, skull clownish-faced figure is iconic death imagery. So while Death 13 doesn't reflect the spiritual evolution side of the tarot card, it definitely fits the name and the look. In the tarot, temperance stands for balance, patience, and self-control, which makes yellow temperance's symbolism in Stardust Crusaders a little hard to find. You see, Rubber Soul, the user behind yellow temperance, is arrogant, impulsive, and overconfident. He tries to fool the group by impersonating Kikyoin, but his weird and creepy behavior blows his cover. His stand, a flesh-eating shape-shifting goo, overwhelms instead of harmonizes. Here's where the tarot fits in though. The reversed meaning of temperance warns against excess, imbalance, and deception. That fits Rubber Soul in a nutshell. No restraint, no harmony.
おめえはディオに1億ドルもらうことになってるたった数分の戦いでそれだけ稼げるなんてよ
And while he may seem ironic at first, Rubber Soul actually reveals what temperance looks like when the lesson is ignored. In other words, he's not a symbol of moderation but a warning of what happens when ego and too much confidence take over. Ebony Devil reflects the dark nature of the Devil Tarot card: confusion, obsession, and manipulation. Operated remotely, this stand doesn't rely on brute strength but on psychological torment. The main connection between this stand and the card is that the stand thrives when its victims are trapped by their own emotions. To active his stand, Devo utilizes pain caused by provoking Polnareff intentionally, something that resembles the theme of the card a lot. It reinforces the link between his personality and the card's deeper meaning of oppression.
Ebony Devil! Silver Chariot!
Polnareff loses control and attacks, falling right into its trap, which is exactly what the card warns about. Tower of Grey is the stand of Greyfly, and it definitely captures the destructive energy of the Tower Tarot card. Sudden chaos, collapse, and irreversible change, just like Havil warns in the beginning and Grey when he was defeated. The stand attacks like very fast, violent, and without any warning. 1 second the flight is calm, and the next it's pure panic. That's the Tower card in action. The moment it appears, the structure of control, the flight in this case, collapses into chaos. Even the nature of the stand itself, a high-speed beetle, kind of mirrors the lightning striking the tower in the tarot image, a flash of disaster that no one saw coming. Jotaro's stand takes direct inspiration from the card of the star: hope, guidance, and inner strength. Literally.
Star no card. Nazuke yo, kimi no stand wa Star Platinum.
In tarot, the star appears after the tower, after the chaos. That's exactly what happens in part 3 when he's introduced after, and not before, the discovery of Dio's survival. Jotaro is stoic, calm, loyal and cold. His stand, Star Platinum, has sharp precision and overwhelming power which mirror the card's message of inner clarity and confidence. And like the card suggests, Jotaro takes each step, each fight, with quiet determination. He trusts that everything will be fine since he believes in himself and his group.
俺たちだけじゃねえぜ。
おい、ジョンスターさん、車が調達できました。早く行こうぜ。
By the final battle, the symbolism comes full circle. The star stands for the inspiration and belief that carries us through the journey, while the world represents end and completion. When these cards are together, they show how resolve leads to ultimate achievement, which is exactly what happens in the show with Jotaro winning. Even in part 4, older and wiser, Jotaro remains a symbol of inspiration to Josuke and the others in Morio. And in part 6, even as he faces death, his hope in his daughter becomes the final push that helps Jolene and Emporio move forward. The Moon Tarot card is all about mystery, illusion, and hidden truths, and it fits the moon stand from JoJo really good. Wielded by imposter Captain Tennille, Dark Blue Moon traps Jotaro in an underwater dome resembling a whirlpool. The ocean is often used as a powerful symbol of the unknown. The ocean can represent the mysteries of existence, the infinite, and uncharted territory of both the physical world and the human psyche. In this episode, at first, everything seems under control, but suddenly, reality changes, just like the tarot card warns. Don't trust everything you see, especially people. The card also points to facing your inner fears and navigating the unknown. In this episode, the Joestars are entering hostile territory as they had never faced a water-based stand. The Sun Tarot card usually stands for joy, clarity, and success, and in JoJo's, we sort of get that, just with a twist. At first glance, the sun, a stand wielded by Arabia Fats, seems like a harmless sphere in the desert sky, pretty much like the sun itself. But it turns into a deadly heat trap not long after. Instead of bringing the clarity it should, it creates the opposite, confusion. And here's the twist I was talking about. Once the group spots the hidden stand user, they burst into laughter, even Jotaro. It's one of the few moments of genuine joy in the arc, which oddly fits the tarot meaning, joy and excitement. The situation flips from deadly to ridiculous, and in that absurdity, we get the sun's true meaning, the revelation of truth, and a good laugh to go with it in this case. Judgment is the stand of Cameo, a minor antagonist in Stardust Crusaders. Judgment in the show is one of the clearest representations of its tarot card's meaning. Rebirth, reckoning, and consequences. Cameo tricks his victims by granting their wishes, but they turn out twisted, like bringing loved ones back from the dead but not the way you expected.
なんだ、文句があるのか? 俺はお前の願いを聞き入れた.
This fits Judgment almost perfectly. It's a card about facing the truth and being held accountable. It can also represent a cruel mockery of redemption. You see, Judgment is all about self-evaluation. It urges you to reflect on past choices and how they shape your present. In JoJo's, that's taken to the extreme with Polnareff feeling guilty about Abdul's fake death and not being able to accept that his sister is dead. Just like the tarot card warns, if you're not ready to face your past honestly, it can come back to hurt you in the most personal way. And finally we have the world, wielded by no other than Dio. Its tarot card stands for completion, fulfillment, and the end of a long journey, which match pretty well with the stand itself. In Stardust Crusaders, Dio is the final boss, the final obstacle at the end of the Crusaders' journey. His stand stops time itself, a symbol of complete control and domination of reality. Dio sees Dot as perfection. He believes he's reached the top, immortal, since he's a vampire and powerful because of the world. In a way, that mirrors the card's message. Dio has gone through his own evolution, from a broken past into someone who causes fear. However, while the World Tarot card represents wholeness and harmony, Dio never actually gets there. He rejects his humanity, isolates himself, and becomes more of a monster than a man. He masters time, but not himself.
呪い呪い The World は最強のスタンドだ。時間を止めずともスピードとパワーとてお前のスタープラチナより上なのだ。
And as we mentioned earlier, there's the star, Jotaro. The battle between Star Platinum and the world becomes a deeper metaphor, hope versus domination. It's not just the final fight, it's a clash of what these two cards represent. And when Jotaro triumphs, it shows us that true fulfillment doesn't come from control, it comes from purpose, connection, and courage. And that wraps up our journey through the Major Arcana and the stands from Stardust Crusaders. Whether intentional or not, these parallels make JoJo more than just another anime series, it becomes a masterpiece. It's also worth mentioning that in reality, tarot cards tell the story of humanity's spiritual evolution. Stardust Crusaders mirrors this pretty well. Jotaro, who started as a cold delinquent, becomes the guiding star. Kakyoin finds community and people that he can call close friends. Abdul closes his guiding role to be passed on Polnareff. Polnareff finds justice and belonging. Iggy learns to be less selfish and embrace sacrifice. And Joseph becomes the wise guide he was meant to be. You got me. It's absolute cinema. Thanks for watching until the end. Subscribe and check out my Instagram for more random JoJo facts.